Well, hello there, everyone. This is Ryan Evans. I'm a certified master level evolution astrologer with the Forrest School of Evolutionary. And today we're going to be talking about knowing your power days, moon magic, using the phases of the moon, using new moons, understanding our relationship with the sun and the moon together, to create a life consciously with intention and power, consciousness, and wisdom. So a little quick background on myself. I've been doing this astrology stuff for the last 20 years, practicing professionally for, I guess, the last 10 or so. And if there is anything that I have found as a full force in the evolving astrology chart, it's the moon. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So first, though, let's ask ourselves, why do we do this astrology stuff? Is it so that we can control nature? Is it so that we can coerce and manipulate events in order to satisfy our desires? I mean, we can be like J.P. Morgan, who said, billionaires use astrology, not millionaires. We can use astrology. Sure, yeah, my teacher told us a story once about somebody wanting some country music star to go to the top of the charts, and he looked up an electional chart and said, yeah, you want to mail it on this day? And sure enough, that guy won a Grammy. Yeah, we can do that kind of stuff. But what I'm considering in this exploration here today is using astrology co-creatively, where we act and dance in accordance with the rhythms of nature, as opposed to trying to coerce and manipulate nature into our will. So at the rhythms of the moon as an indicator of the natural rhythms. So what is nature? What is the source of nature? We Sagittarians love these big questions. What is the source of life? Oh, what is the meaning of life, regardless of the source? But when we think about it, the moon represents the source of nature. Moon, the ruler of Cancer, which gives moisture to the barren earth. Cancer, the season of summer when the earth is at her moist richest. So we look to the moon as a pathway on how to connect with nature. And so what we're doing here with this little exploration, or what I was doing here with this little exploration, was writing down all of these things, all these ideas. Oh yes, I've got these intentions of what I want to say, and how are we going to use the moon? And I get all these ideas, how I want to present it. I want to talk about lunar phase a little later on. And, what was really important, I thought, was, setting intention at the new moons, every new moon. If you want to get on my mailing list, feel free, shoot me an email. Every new moon, I put out a new moon intention letter. And what's our best intention for the new moon? So I'm writing down my outline, and somebody says, oh, didn't Jan Spiller write a book on new moon astrology and using your power days to new moon power days to be used for your benefit? And so, I think there might have been. When I looked, I read the book. I'm like, okay, yeah. So she and I are gonna say some of the same stuff here. So I'll throw a nod here to Jan Spiller that, she and I came up with this great idea here independently of each other, but she's got the book written, and she did it a lot earlier before, a lot sooner than I did. So kudos to her. And so what I'm about to say, some of the techniques are akin to what Jan said in her book, but here's a unique presentation. So let's go back to the birth of the universe. Well, let's go back to before the birth of the universe. Does anybody really know what it was? Where we all came from? No, it's a great mystery. We have theories, of course, and we know what happened, milliseconds after the creation of the universe, or the Big Bang, or some slight quantum fluctuation or something. We know that there was this pure energy, and that energy cooled down into electromagnetism and gravity and strong and weak nuclear forces. And then it cooled down enough, we eventually had our first nuclear reactions. First sons were born. But going back to the beginning there, again, we Sagittarians ask, well, why? There's got to be some intention, right? There's got to be some meaning. And I suppose some of us Sagittarians can also say, oh, there is no meaning, la, 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 go play and be irresponsible. But there has to be some sort of meaning. There's got to be purpose here, because, most of us keep waking up. And so if you were to ask yourself, do you have an intention for being? Do you have a reason for being? Do you have a meaning of life? Well, I could speculate that there was some intention at the birth of the universe, some reason for being. We are still exploring that, and we're exploring that very deeply in evolutionary astrology, because we're talking about the evolution of consciousness, right? We're talking about the evolution of soul. And so if we go back, there was some intention there. That intention was propelled forward. And again, things cool down. The first suns, they explode, they congeal, they explode, more suns, and here's our sun. Our sun right now in our solar system is a remnant of this fiery explosion, this fiery intention, this fiery manifestation of energy that has its roots back at the beginning of the universe. And so sometimes we like to astrologically surmise that in our birth chart, our sun, our natal sun, can represent what our great intention is for being here, why we are here, as best as we could imagine. You're a Capricorn. You are here to be the best Capricorn you can be. You are Virgo. You are here to master, literally, the best of all possible expressions of Virgo. So in our sun lies this intention. I'm a Sagittarian. Meaning of my life is to explore the meaning of life. What a great, wonderful vehicle to explore that with this astrology stuff. So that gives context and meaning to my life. There's intention and reason for being here with my sun. So if we were to establish or pretend that the sun, wherever the sun is by transit. There's intention there. There's light there. There's meaning there. There's purpose there. The sun casts out all shadows so we can really see what's up there, right? So the sun in our natal chart, it's intention, transiting sun, we could say the same thing. But the moon, before the discovery of Neptune, the moon held many of the qualities we currently ascribe to Neptune. We forget the dreamy, inspirational romance that lovers have looking on a full moon during an embrace. Poetry, the richness of life can be contained in the archetype of the moon. The moon is so rich with so much feeling that doesn't exist in the mind, doesn't exist in logic. It's the moon, it's subconscious, it's trans-rational. And so we can go back there 10, 20, 30, 100, 200, 500, 650, 10 million years, whenever it was that humans first looked at the moon. Wow. Maybe it was coming out of the last ice age, the sun, it was bright, but, the sun was kind of hazy through the clouds, and the moon, at nighttime, when the clouds would clear, could imagine beholding a full moon in awe and wonder. In fact, we could say that the birth of astrology was observing the phases of the moon. What did our primitive brain know about it disappearing and reappearing again, and coming full and disappearing and full and disappearing? It's like a rhythm, it's a heartbeat, it invokes feeling. And so back there, we're gathered around the bonfire, and all in a tribal situation, we all entrain to each other. And at the new moon, we would hold our ceremonies. At the new moon, the women would have their moon, go into their red tent and do their magic. It was a while before the rest of us men caught on, but some of us. And it was at the full moon there, that was time to party, right? That was time to be outside in the big bonfire and the high expression of life, and time to celebrate. But when the moon was gobbled up in the darkness, there was the birth of story. So the moon is our poetry. Moon is our emotional tone and our instinctual self. Moon is our mood, our soul's expression in this life, our soulfulness. And so we do our moon right. We listen to our moon. What we're doing is we're literally connecting with that heartbeat of nature. In fact, if we go even further back, I would not be surprised, while I'm not a biologist by any means, the moon controls the tides. The moon affects the wobble of the earth on its axis. There's the pulse, there's the heartbeat, there's the connection, there's the soulfulness, the beat and the rhythm and the soul. You know what I'm talking about? And so I wonder if, that action, deep down in the thermal vents of the ocean, I mean, can we call the moon the giver of life? Maybe. I can sure say that the moon is how we heal. Do our moon right, we're healing ourselves, we're listening to the truth of our nature. So the moon affecting the wobble of the earth, well, that wobble, that that affects what we consider declination to be, and that gives us seasons, that gives us the signs of the zodiac, that puts planets and seasons at different times. If the moon were not there, we just write itself on our axis, and it would just be one season at whatever latitude we were at the whole time. So the moon, the seasons of nature, the seasons of our soul. So you've got the sun, the the progenitor of life. We wouldn't exist without. We live in a solar system. We don't live in a Mars system. Take the sun out of the equation, we're dead. Take Jupiter out of the equation, I don't know, maybe we'd right ourselves. Maybe we'd survive. Pluto, get that out of there. We can just take that out. That's fine. Oh no, poor Pluto. Sorry, Pluto. Please don't take revenge. No, we love Pluto. We need it. So the sun is very holds everything together, right? The core intention, plus the moon, the pulse. The create the sustain life. Sun plus moon equals life. Intention plus nature. Wow, that's some powerful stuff. Combine the intention of the reason for existence, the sun, without which we would all die, the sun. Combine that with the tone, the feeling, the poetry, the passion, the happiness, potential of the moon, and they come together at the conjunction, and we have a conjunction of feeling and intention. And that, my friends, is what we call magic. And we can feel something in our being as truth and combine it with the intention for that truth to be. We act in accordance with the rhythm and the pulse of nature. Heck, that's some powerful stuff. In fact, we farmers have been doing that, well, I guess since we started farming. So, farming with the phases of the moon. I'm sure you all heard of it if you haven't been farmers, and those of you who are farmers or gardeners and astrologers, you know what I'm about to say. The new moon is the germination time. We don't usually plant the seeds right on the new moon, maybe after, usually before, or longer germinating seeds. But we imagine the new moon is synonymous with the seed germinating. That is incredible power being unleashed into the world that once was just thought, intention, and potential. At that new moon time, when the seed finally soaks up enough moisture, germinates. It's underground. It's in the dark, like the new moon is dark. But it's at that time where there is the intention of the whole entire forest. You know, where the whole patch of zinnias there. These little guys were once seedlings. And so, boom, the seed germinates. And there's the power, there's the intention. And so, if we follow that around the cycle of the year, we can see that every new moon is an incredibly powerful time. Every new moon is a beautiful time to set intentions based on the tone, the season of that new moon. Moreover, where that new moon lands by your own natal house shows a greater specificity as to what intention to set. So what we're going to look at here for finding the power days in our chart is to first look at where are the new moons every moon by house in our chart. Now that's just one piece of it. Now we have to pay attention. We have to have an understanding. We don't have to, but it's always good to know. An understanding of our own progressed lunar phase and where we are in our life. Are we at the beginning of the cycle with our progressed new moon? We towards the end of the cycle, progressed third quarter moon? You know, our intentions can vary based on where we are in our, I guess, soul's evolutionary cycle in this life, progressed lunar phase. Are we going to make an intention to start something super huge in the last 2 or 3 years of our progressed balsamic stage? I don't know. Maybe. How is it aspected? These are things we have to look at. So we're going to look at every new moon, well, not everything, but every new moon by house placement. Here's another one. According to Jan Spiller, the next two, Jan Spiller, very important. Number one, she says, always the new Aries moon, because that is the mapping out of your destiny for the year. That's like the biggie, every new Aries moon. To make an intention of want your year to be. Moreover, Jan Spiller says that if you look at the transiting sun in your 11th house, the 11th house is a house of declaring, using your magic to declare your hopes and wishes and visions for the future. So check that out. And then how about this one? Each new moon, is it in conjunction with any planets? Does it aspect any planets in your natal chart? Well, if it does, then it shows a need to integrate, either through ease and simplicity or challenge and hardship, a need to integrate those archetypes into the intention. And then check this one out. Just the transiting moon alone, every time it conjoins a natal planet, we have an opportunity there to set a tone, set an intention, to access our feeling realm, to state what we can imagine, the best of all possible expressions of whatever that planet is. Every month, the moon comes around to conjoin my Mars At that time, I can fall asleep at the wheel and just be a little more angry and retaliatory if I want to be, or I can make an intention to be in my power and to be courageous and to act nobly and to conquer any fears that I have. Every time the new moon comes around and conjoins our own natal sun, at that time, all right, how am I doing? Every month, it can be our check-in time. All right, am I aligning with who I'm supposed to be in this world? Am I doing what I know I should be doing? Am I living the life akin to a good Sagittarian, or am I not? And so we can state an intention every time the moon comes around to our sun. It's like a personal new moon. To say, all right, let's continue in our alignment with self. Here's another one. The moon conjunct our north node by sign. So what's our intention for growth and evolution for the year? You know, how do we wish to break our old habits and other patterns which do not serve us? So with concepts of the moon, we can be looking at our chart all the time, every day almost, and say, all right, there's another opportunity to come into awareness of things that would be beneficial for my growth and evolution. Okay, well, you know, here's one to check out. Every time the moon conjoins your south node, every time the moon conjoins your Pluto, you know, these are really, really powerful self-awareness times. You know, oh my gosh, what just happened? Oh, I can't believe I acted that way. What the heck? I wasn't looking at the chart. Where was the moon? Oh, it was on my south node. Next month I'll make an to be aware of that, and so to, you know, act in the best of all possible aspects of that, those nodal tendencies, as opposed to of the least best of all possible expressions. So what are some intentions to make? Well, let's take a look at that. What are some really good intentions to make for each new moon? Or if you have a sun or a moon or any other planet in these signs, you know, think about setting intentions, again, regarding the best of all possible expressions. Say you have Venus and Mercury and Jupiter all conjoined in Aries. You have a wonderful opportunity to make some really powerful intentions every time the moon comes to conjoin that stellium. And so what do we want the intentions to be? Well, here we go. Anything that comes up to an Aries planet, or anytime there's an Aries new moon, or if you're in Aries or moon in Aries, remember, quick addendum, remember that it must be in context of house, because Aries in the 6th house is a much different beast than Aries in the 3rd house. There's some similarities, sure, but the life experience considerably different. So be sure to make it in context of your house. So Aries, new moon in Aries, new moon in the 1st house. Something happening in your 1st house. Make an intention of, how can I be my most powerful self? How can I be courageous and take action? How can I be independent with renewed energy, with passion and vigor? How can I strengthen a self that may be depleted? Are there some new health regimes I want to start? Is there some risk I must take? Some new choice that is before me? When we make an intention, according to Jan Spiller, she says, write it down. Typing it out isn't going to work. Since we're talking moon, we're talking feeling. Since we're talking feeling, we're talking heart. Since we're talking heart, we want to be as connected to that as possible. Use pen and paper, write down the intention. We can state the intention to the universe. That can be powerful. There's something about writing it down, she says, that is like, since we've written it on paper, it's like taking intention and making it manifest. Taking our words and putting them into actuality, into form. Mirrors our intention to the universe and the potential for it to come into form. So that's one of the little magic tricks. Now, some people can use ritual and burn things. Other people can put it on the altar. However you construct it, I'm sure, must be personal towards you. However, when we make these intentions, just be sure to convey feeling in the intention. Oh, there's a new moon in Libra coming up. Oh, I hope everything's okay with my relationship. Next. There's not a lot of magic in there. And so it's not, we could call it prayer, but my sense is it is more of a declaration to the natural forces, the natural seasonal tone, moon in Aries, the seasonal tone of the Aries, the feeling of the Aries. It's more about just aligning with that tone, as opposed to asking Creator for a gift. Oh, please, little Lord, baby Jesus in the manger, please give me a car and a bicycle. I will say that. However, what we're looking for here is tonal resonance. So it's a new moon in Aries. Generate some feeling. Generate some passion to it. This is mine. I claim this for me, so that I will lead everybody else out of the darkness, like a good Aries. So I can show the rest of the people the way, like a good Aries. So I can confront my own fears, like a good Aries. So new moon in Aries, set these intentions. New moon in Taurus comes along. Or maybe the new moon is in our second house. Or maybe we have a strong stellium or other powerful planets in Taurus. And here comes the moon. It's an intention, a feeling for peace. We go like this, We set an intention for our self-worth. We want something. Taurus would be a great time to ask for the manifestation of that thing. I'm feeling resonant now with the need to persevere through the hellish circumstances I find myself in, but to maintain my stability and my patience amidst this insanity. That's a magnificent possible intention to set for a new Taurus moon. I need some money, yo. I want some comfort. I want some ease. All right. Moon rhythm, pulse of life, great goddess mother, if I want to go in that direction, I beseech thee, please let me have some peace. Now that's a little dramatic, of course, but that kind of thing. In fact, maybe with Taurus, we would just want to say, and it is so. We just imagine it manifest. I love myself. I am worthy. I am capable of building. I am connected with nature. The important thing, an important thing that I'm now remembering is that at these new moons too, just because we are setting an intention for the future, it is also imperative that we let go of the past. We're not going to engage in a new cycle if we're still embroiled in a previous cycle. So it's always important to add just a little bit of some things that maybe I'd like to release at this time too. Maybe if I'm feeling stuck, it would be a good time to set a new moon intention of moving forward, releasing stuckness. Maybe I've been bored. I release some boredom. Jan Spiller suggests setting intentions for our health at new moons as well. And so new moon in Aries, you know, I wish for my headaches to go away. I wish to cure my male pattern baldness. New moon in Aries. New moon in Taurus. Oh, my vocal cords feel a little strained. Oh, yes, I can imagine these being healthy. My throat and my thyroid. New moon in Gemini, third house comes along. New moon on your Mercury. All right, it's time to be open to the clues, omens, and synchronicities that the universe is providing for me, thanks to the magician Mercury. Time for some curiosity. Let's set an intention for learning or making connections or doing some kind of sales or something. You know, we want to have a little more freedom and flexibility. Maybe we're embarking on a writing project or a speaking tour. What is it? You know, are we seeing this world correctly? You know, all I see is shadow and darkness here, and you know, maybe we have Saturn in the 12th in Gemini or Saturn in the 8th in Gemini. You know, I have an intention here to see things a little more clearly for how good they can be, as opposed to just all the hell and hardship. Wipe away the past. New moon in Gemini. Time to see things in a new way. Time to get a little creative. How can I be open to some new information? New moon in Gemini, new moon in third house, new moon on our Mercury. Awesome. As we release some anxiety or nervousness or indecision or confusion, or maybe that person lied to us or deceived us or, you know, fed us some misinformation. So we want some clarity. Please, little old baby Jesus in the manger, give us some clarity. Again, hyper dramatic, but necessary for some people. With Gemini, we want health in our nervous system, right? In the upper things in our body, in pairs, lungs, hands, arms, shoulders. Health there. New moon in Gemini. And then we have a new moon in Cancer, new moon in the 4th house. What's the intention? Oh. I don't know what the intention is, but I know it's in there somewhere. I can feel it. So we put our hands on our heart and we ask ourselves to speak up from this place. And it might take us a minute to work through the minefield of emotions that could come up at this time. But maybe working through that minefield of emotions is part of the intention. We want some healing in this place, and we want to feel safe in this place, and we want to feel secure and loved and nurtured in this place as we do those from this place. That's so huge. We have to be so vulnerable sometimes, so aware of our emotional state, and so that could be great as long as we can release any insecurity, fear of rejection, or hyper emotionality. Moon in Cancer, 4th house. Who am I really? What do I really need? Okay, universe, I am having an intention for me to hear what is happening in here. Really powerful. Got the breast, chest, the ribs, pancreas, stomach, gas and ulcers, tumors. New moon in Cancer. If we got any of that going on, okay, it's time to just imagine this energy going down. Instead of coming up and burning, going down. Wonderful time for intention. New moon in Leo, guess what? It's time to play. An intention for what? For happiness, for romance, for creativity, for generosity, self-expression. Okay? It's funny, Leo comes along, I start talking about Leo, and I affect the little puppy persona. I just want to play. Squirrel. Okay, yeah, yeah. So Leo, what is it that really gets us to shine? How can we shine? So what kind of intention can we set for a new Leo moon, new moon in the house, something hitting a Leo planet? How can I bring some joy to this? Encouragement, kindness, loyalty, nobility. Leo, the sign of the king, sign of the queen. That's a really, to be in that position of king or queen, you gotta act with respect. You can't just be like, off with their heads, let them eat cake. I mean, you can be like that, but that's what gives them a bad name. And then people are like forced into clapping. And you don't want to force people into clapping. No, you want to give a good show. And you want the people who are in your audience to be like, yeah, that's great, that's right. And I'm I'm either agreeing with you or I'm respectfully disagreeing with you, whatever it is, says the audience. And then the performer, is able to give some more. There's some people that showed up today to listen to me talk. Oh, I guess I better talk. Give what I can there, shine how I can. So an intention, new moon in Leo, new moon in 5th house on a Leo planet. How can we radiate? How can we confidently be whoever it is we have to be? Even if it's some weirdo astrologer trying to explain new moon magic, the heck. But we make a make an intention at this time, it's like, boom, it sets a tone, it rings a bell like a gong that then reverberates out into the universe. And since it's a sympathetic energy, you have two guitars and you pluck an E string here on this guitar, and if they're in tune, the E string on this guitar is going to vibrate. Sympathetic or harmonic resonation or vibration. And so it's like that at these new moon times. There's a tone that is already there with the moon in its sign, and it's plucking the note of Leo, and then we hook on to that. We sympathize, we harmonize with that tone that's being played, and there's resonance, and we're on the same page, and we're singing the same song, and we are acting in accordance with nature. That's what it means to be natural, not just eating organic food or walking barefoot on the ground, both of which are magnificent and wonderful, but doing what we can to actually have our own sense of being resonant with the lunar tides. So important. So Leo, we set an intention to radiate confidence in our self-expressive leadership as we release any attachment to hyperdrama or extravagance or self-absorption. So if we have health issues in our heart or spine or some inflammation, we might want to make an intention at the new Leo moon times to heal that. All right, I'm here to have my heart be radiant. That's my intention, the radiance of my heart. All right, then we feel that. We connect. There's the healing. New moon in Virgo, 6th house. What do we want? We have intentions for our health, healthy routine, to master ourselves, fix ourselves, healing, fix and repair other stuff. In this last new Virgo moon, how many of us have been working on projects this whole month? Yeah, that's kind of how it goes sometimes. Yeah. And so we set intentions for taking care of business. We set intentions for planning effectively, for showing up once we've planned something, for thinking critically and logically, for having a healthy discrimination between what works for us and what doesn't work for us and those we love. How can we bring dreams into manifestation? So you want a powerful new moon. Yeah, Pisces, is pretty powerful for imagining it, but you want to bring it into manifestation. Yeah, call your earth signs. Virgo is the work that brings dreams into reality, makes them actual. So that process, so very important. As we release our worry and our judgment, criticism, blame, shame, all of which affect our small intestine digestion. So coming up here in just a couple days, day and a half here. What is it? The 28th, something like 1:50 something maybe p.m. Central. We have a Libra new moon. Now, Libra new moon. I mean, just think about the state of the world. What better time to set an intention for peace, harmony, and equilibrium, and happy relations, and teamwork, right? Effective diplomacy, right? Happy partnerships and agreements, right? Bringing some art and beauty and nice things into our life, being okay with stuff. You know, hey, suffering exists, but it's okay to be happy. It's okay to have the balance between in-breath and out-breath, light and dark. We can work together. Trust is possible. Okay? So we set intentions here. Now is a magnificent time. What in your life? Where do we need this? Maybe our relationships are absolutely wonderful and we set an intention for their continuing beauty, the continuing love of my perfect relationship. Ah, yeah. As we release any codependency, any indecision, any waffling, any, making it all about the other person. Oh, Libra's about the both of us. It's not just you, and definitely not just me, the us. Wow. So for health, how are your adrenals doing? How are your kidneys doing? Those dual lower organs? Now, if y'all have any challenges up in those realms, now is the time to set an intention for their health. Because then there's Scorpio, the next new moon, tonight on Fox, where we set an intention for healthy, conscious change, growth, evolution, transformation, elimination, forgiveness, awareness of how about this, awareness of our mortality, and thusly bringing in more sacred, passionate present moment into our life. What's really worth it? Strength amidst shadow, mutual celebration, passion, combined resources. You want to start a business? My idea, their money. That's an intimate bond, and that's Scorpio. Loans, grants, inheritances, taxes, make healthy intentions regarding any of those topics. New moon in Scorpio, new moon in your 8th house, new moon on any of your Scorpio planets. Time more deep healing. Oh, here comes the moon in Scorpio. Time to turn the compost. Time to bring all that darkness up to the light so it can be healed. So we release our jealousy and hatred and hyper suspicion and guilt, power struggles, and ask in our organs of elimination, our sexual organs. Sagittarius, new moon in Sag, new moon in the 9th house, new moon on any of our Sag planets, new moon on our Jupiter. What is our meaning and purpose? Okay, universe, I have an intention to break out of the familiar and expand my repertoire. Thank you, new moon in Sagittarius. Time for some faith, some answers. Ready for some answers, universe. Okay? Show me the way. Show me the way, little Lord baby Jesus in the manger, if we want to strengthen our particular religious beliefs. Be careful to be very honest. It's imperative of Sagittarian. So look at our morality, our conscience. Time, how about this? How about a little good luck or optimism? That would be great. As we release our addiction to excess or arrogance or thinking we know everything or carelessness, hyper exaggerating. We Sagittarians don't know anything about hyperbole, nothing at all. So for health, we look at our hips, liver, thighs, sciatica. Capricorn, new moon in Capricorn. We want to do Capricorn right. We want to make an intention for continuing our hike up the mountain, regardless of the ocotillo branches that like to slap our face. Regardless of the slippery rocks or the rocks that give when we try to push down on them and we slip 2 steps backwards. So to persevere, good Capricorn. You want some determination? Maybe you're ready for a raise or some advancement. Time for some good gosh darn success. You set an intention for things to work. That upward momentum up the mountain. New moon in Capricorn. What are our goals? What's our worthy work? Got an issue with your father or your more dominant parent? Time to make an intention healing that as we release our fear, our pessimism, hyper-conservatism, our non-emotionality, excessive desire for control. So we want health in our bones, our gallbladder, knees, and skin. Come to Aquarius, new moon in Aquarius. It is time to set an intention for the future. How about, are there any groups or communities we are interested in engaging? How can I be authentically myself? Is it time to get that invention out there? What are my goals? Maybe it's time to take up my astrology practice again. All right, it's a new moon in Aquarius, perfect. Need a little clarity in this situation. Set an intention for those as we release our fear of the world, our inflexibility, sometimes self-defeating traumatic scripts. Let those go. And we ask for health with Aquarius in our ankles, in our circulatory system, our veins. I think cramps are under Aquarius too. And then we come to Pisces. And we set intentions revolving around the compassionate acceptance and forgiveness of all the suffering of humanity. We set intentions to open ourselves up to our imagination, open ourselves up to the magical downloads that might come from beyond us. And our awareness of subtle or even angelic realms. If we ascribe to the word spirituality, it is at this time where we can foment that. Need some quiet time, need some forgiveness, need to just be. It's a time for setting the intention to be as we release our procrastination, any panic, confusion, incognizance, addictions, helplessness. And so where's Pisces? Health in our feet, in our lymphatic system, any poisoning and toxicity in our body. So it's at these times, every time when the moon is, in fact, if we really want to be considered natural beings, then we'll look at the lunar phase, and we'll look at the sign, the season the moon is in every single day and do our best to act accordingly or act in resonance as much as we can with that. Well, there's lots of other clues and tips and tricks here. Talked about lunar phase and progressed lunar cycles and all of these other things. But maybe we'll do that in a part 2. But for now, just know that setting intentions when the moon passes through houses and triggers certain planets, especially our sun, our moon, our north node, that these are magnificent times for setting intentions by working in accordance with the natural flow and rhythm of the lunar cycles, thus helping us to be more natural humans. So that's what I know. Thanks so much for playing along, everybody. If you'd like to learn more or have a reading, etc. with me, I can be found on the web at www.ryanevansastrology.com, and we can see how all this relates to your own chart. So thank you all so much.